Dharayate iti dharma. That which sustains is dharma. That makes dharma is sustainability, and sustainability is righteousness. Very glad to welcome you all to the launch of the Center for Sustainability at Chanakya University. We are about to commence this solemn event. Please note, it's an event of 120 minutes. Kindly request all of you to keep your mobiles in silent mode. With the consent, we shall commence. Request Kumari Chinmayi, MSc Psychology of Chanakya University, to kindly invoke the blessings of divinity to commence this event. Ms. Chinmayi, please.
ಸುತ್ತಲೂ ಕವಿಯುವ ಕತ್ತಲೆಯೊಳಗೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಹಣತೆಯ ಹಚ್ಚೋಣ, ಬಿರುಗಾಳಿಗೆ ಹೊಯ್ದಾಡುವ ಹಡಗನು ಎಚ್ಚರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸೋಣ. ಸುತ್ತಲೂ ಕವಿಯುವ ಕತ್ತಲೆಯೊಳಗೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಹಣತೆಯ ಹಚ್ಚೋಣ, ಬಿರುಗಾಳಿಗೆ ಹೊಯ್ದಾಡುವ ಹಡಗನು ಎಚ್ಚರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸೋಣ, ಎಚ್ಚರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸೋಣ. ಕಲುಷಿತವಾದಿ ನದಿ ಜಲಗಳಿಗೆ ಮುಂಗಾರಿನ ಮಳೆಯಾಗೋಣ, ಕಲುಷಿತವಾದಿ ನದಿ ಜಲಗಳಿಗೆ ಮುಂಗಾರಿನ ಮಳೆಯಾಗೋಣ. ಬರಡಾಗಿರುವಿ ಕಾಡು ಮೇಡುಗಳ ವಸಂತವಾಗುತ್ತ ಮುಟ್ಟೋಣ, ಬರಡಾಗಿರುವಿ ಕಾಡು ಮೇಡುಗಳ ವಸಂತವಾಗುತ್ತ ಮುಟ್ಟೋಣ, ವಸಂತವಾಗುತ್ತ ಮುಟ್ಟೋಣ. ಸುತ್ತಲೂ ಕವಿಯುವ ಕತ್ತಲೆಯೊಳಗೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಹಣತೆಯ ಹಚ್ಚೋಣ, ಬಿರುಗಾಳಿಗೆ ಹೊಯ್ದಾಡುವ ಹಡಗನು ಎಚ್ಚರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸೋಣ, ಎಚ್ಚರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸೋಣ. ಬಿದ್ದುದನ್ನು ಮೇಲೆಪ್ಪಿಸಿ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿ ಹೊಸ ಭರವಸೆಗಳ ಕಟ್ಟೋಣ, ಬಿದ್ದುದನ್ನು ಮೇಲೆಪ್ಪಿಸಿ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿ ಹೊಸ ಭರವಸೆಗಳ ಕಟ್ಟೋಣ. ಮನುಜರ ನಡುವಣ ಅಡ್ಡಗೋಡೆಗಳ ಕೆಡವುತ ಸೇತುವೆಯಾಗೋಣ, ಕೆಡವುತ ಸೇತುವೆಯಾಗೋಣ. ಸುತ್ತಲೂ ಕವಿಯುವ ಕತ್ತಲೆಯೊಳಗೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಹಣತೆಯ ಹಚ್ಚೋಣ, ಬಿರುಗಾಳಿಗೆ ಹೊಯ್ದಾಡುವ ಹಡಗನು ಎಚ್ಚರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸೋಣ, ಎಚ್ಚರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸೋಣ, ಎಚ್ಚರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸೋಣ, ಎಚ್ಚರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸೋಣ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Thank you, Ms. Chinmayi. Requesting Professor H.S. Ashok, the Honorable Vice Chancellor in charge, Chanakya University. Professor H.S. Ashok, a researcher, academician, teacher, consultant with over 4 decades of experience and expertise, is a guide and mentor and is one of the founding faculty at Chanakya University. As an in-charge Vice Chancellor of the university, Sir has been a guide and a mentor. Requesting Professor H.S. Ashok, sir, to kindly offer his welcome address. Professor Ashok, sir.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure for me to welcome each one of you for this particular noble function or noble event that Chanakya University is organizing. Chanakya, I think I will start with initially welcoming the guests and then probably spend some time introducing the Chanakya University. First of all, I welcome our president of this particular function, Padma Shri M.K. Sridhar, who is presiding over this particular function. Welcome, sir. This particular event is possible with philanthropic orientation and contribution by 2-3 significant people here, who are present here, who have made this particular event to be successful. Mr. Prashant Prakash, welcome you, sir. We also have Mr. Nitin Kamath from Zerodha. I think I welcome you, sir. I welcome the chief guest, Mr. Hari K. Marar, for this particular function. Thank you very much. I also acknowledge and welcome the advisory board members, Padma Shri Subbanna Ayyappan, Shri Raghavendran, and Shri T.V. Ramachandra, along with Professor P.G. Divakar and Sachidananda Tripathi, sir. So welcome all of you. I welcome all the dignitaries, invitees, and my Chanakya fraternities. Chanakya University is about 2.5 years old. Though it is a child, the steps that we are taking is quite, leap we are taking it. We started with 3 schools. Then the next year, we started with the 4th school. Now we are proudly saying that we are commencing with the 6th schools considered concerned. These 6 universities, schools which we have the idea of introducing multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary component. The primary goal of vision of this particular university is towards holistic development of the students are concerned. Teaching, extension, research are the 3 primary focus areas that we are concerning. And in order to facilitate the research orientation, research should not be only ending with the PhD degree, rather research should be contributing to the society. That is where our aim is to set up certain centers and the chair specifically for looking at some of the concerns of the society so that we can contribute towards the development of the society also. In this perspective, I think today we have a center for sustainable development that is being started, and this is a proud moment for us, and I hope that all the dignitaries who are available here, who are present here, will contribute towards the growth and development of this center, not only this particular center, but also to our university it's concerned. So thank you very much. Thank you once again. Welcome all of you.
Thank you, sir. In the same context, we are very pleased to present a very brief audio visual of the Center of Excellence on Sustainability and Chanakya University. Request the audio to be played. I'm sorry, audio visual to be played. Chanakya University aspires to be India's foremost for-purpose university on a steadfast mission in the pursuit of expanding frontiers of knowledge to nurture world-class scholarship and advancing high-impact research. We are committed frontrunners in merging global academic excellence with India's exceptional civilizational wisdom for individual and society's sustained greatness. The Center for Sustainability at Chanakya University focuses on sustainable living through 4 focus areas: sustainable agriculture and agricultural materials, urban water management with a focus on Bengaluru, soil conservation for ecological balance, behavioral sustainability rooted in the Indian knowledge system. By promoting sustainable behaviors, we seek to enable communities to integrate holistic living into their daily practices. Our center offers region-specific guidance for the adoption of sustainable lifestyles. We are committed to advancing interdisciplinary collaboration to develop and implement solutions and policies for a sustainable future. The center is supported by renowned philanthropist Sri Prashant Prakash, founding partner of Accel, along with Sri Nikhil Kamath and Sri Nitin Kamath, co-founders of Zerodha. We are pleased to present our advisory council members who include The Center for Sustainability at Chanakya University invites you to join us in strengthening our collective endeavor for a sustainable future in line with the Indian dictum Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you, team. On that note, and in that context, we are pleased to commence the program of the launch of the Center for Sustainability, requesting the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, to kindly escort the dignitaries to the dais. We are pleased to have today with us Padma Shri Professor M.K. Sridhar, Honorable Chancellor, Chanakya University, as the President of the occasion, along with whom we have Professor Subarna Ayyappan as the chairperson and the chief guest today. Professor Sri Hari K. Mara, request all to kindly proceed. Sri Nitin Kamath, Sri Prashant Prakash, Sri M.P. Kumar, Pro-Chancellor, Chanakya University, request kindly to proceed. Before they take their place, request them to symbolically commence this event by lighting the lamp to inaugurate and launch the Center of Excellence, the Chanakya Center for Sustainability. Why blame the darkness when nobody has prevented you from lighting a lamp? That symbolizes our efforts and endeavors at education and transformation. We further request the dignitaries to kindly symbolically water the plant that is a sapling of the peepal tree, the Ashwatha, one of the Vanaspatis, Ficus religiosa. It symbolizes the universe as it is believed to shelter the divinity in the universe. Request the dignitaries to kindly water the sapling. That is the peepal tree, the Ashwatha Vraksha, one of the Vanaspatis. Thank you, sirs. On the occasion, we are very pleased to launch the Center of Excellence, the Chanakya Center for Sustainability, requesting the dignitaries to kindly release the brochure which details out our plan of and for the Center for Sustainability, requesting the dignitaries to kindly release the brochure for the Center of Excellence, the Center for Sustainability at Chanakya University. Thank you, sirs. As they understand, well begun is half done. We hope that this journey shall go a long way. We are very, very pleased to have with us today a pioneer in the hospitality industry and also having started and operated airports operation. We are very, very happy to have with us Sri Hari K. Marar as a chief guest of the day, recognizing his presence, requesting Sri Prashant Prakash and also Sri Nitin Kamath to kindly felicitate Sri Hari K. Marar, the chief guest of the day, recognizing his contribution to the practices of sustainability. We request other dignitaries to join in the felicitation of Sri Hari K. Marar, requesting Sri Prashant Prakash and Sri Nitin Kamath to lead the felicitation. On this occasion, I am very pleased to give a very brief introduction of Sri Hari K. Marar. Sri Hari Marar is the Managing Director and CEO of Bangalore International Airport Limited. He is responsible for the management, growth and development of Kempe Gowda International Airport, Bengaluru and its subsidiaries. The role involves setting the strategic vision for the airport and the airport city, planning and implementing the development roadmap and taking key strategic decisions. Hari was a part of the core leadership team that successfully licensed and operationalized the Greenfield Airport project at Bengaluru. He defined the operational concept of this Greenfield Airport and introduced and implemented several modern state-of-the-art airport management systems. He has also conceived and built up an airport operation organization to ensure complete operational readiness to provide world-class service to passengers. The BIAL Terminal 2, developed under his leadership, has secured recognition as one of the world's most beautiful airports and has been awarded the coveted World Special Prize for Interior 2023 at the UNESCO's 2023 Prix Versailles. Sustainability is at the heart of Bengaluru International Airport. The sustainable design of T2, the world's largest terminal, pre-certified with a premium LEED rating by the US Green Building Council before operational commencement, reflects the airport's commitment and his innovative measures in environmental responsibility. Additionally, it has garnered the prestigious Platinum certification under the IGBC Green New Building Rating System. I am sure we would like to listen from him. Requesting Sri Hari K. Marar to share his thoughts briefly.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, dear friends, it is a privilege and an honor for me to be invited here to be part of such an important occasion and an occasion that has the potential of becoming a pivotal moment in our collective journey towards a more sustainable future. I'm sure this center will do a terrific job in creating and fostering that environment that will, sort of propel, catalyze, serve as a beacon of hope in this collective journey. I think the number of naysayers and the number of people who don't believe that climate change is real has come down over a period of time. But I still believe there are a few people out there who do not believe that the climate change is real. But I'm sure none of them are here in this room today, because what brings us together is our collective commitment to making the world a better place in the future. But there have been significant signals in the outside world today that tell us that the danger that we face is not abstract or distant, but it's clear and present danger that we face today. Take a look at the crazy heat waves that we have, record-breaking heat waves that we have going across the world, whether it was in Europe, some parts of Europe some time back, whether it's the bushfires in Australia or the wildfires in America, or even the deaths of 550 people yesterday in Saudi Arabia and several people over the last couple of months in North India. Take a look at the depletion of biodiversity, whether it's the Amazonian forests or the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, and what have you. Just been so much of biodiversity that has been lost. freak weather phenomenon. And even in the industry that I particularly represent, I don't know whether you've heard recently of 2 incidents where planes just dropped out of the sky and even caused death of a passenger who was not wearing his seat belt. You must have heard of that incident. Clear air turbulence, what caused it? Apparently, there is scientific evidence to show that that is also on the rise on account of climate change. So I think there's enough evidence out there to prove to us that this like I said, is not something that's distant and abstract, but is very clear and present as we speak right now. Bangalore Airport has been committed to ensuring that we, in everything that we do, we weave sustainability into the program. As you know, as an airport, we stand as a symbol of progress, because that's what we do. We build, we construct, we develop, we create new technologies, we try and improve things as we go along, all of which stands for progress. But progress is meaningless unless it's sustainable to start with. And I think right from the beginning, that is something that we have committed ourselves to make sure that in everything that we do, we leave the world behind in a better shape than we found it in the first place. That's the commitment with which we started running the airport. Over a period of time, some things, and while I was sitting there, I was being told that we are considered to be champions of sustainability, and I would humbly like to disagree with that. We are still students, we're still trying to learn, we are still at a very early stage of what needs to be done. But I think we have done a few things right. Amongst the things that we have done right is that in running a 4,000-acre campus, it's almost like running a city. We've ensured that the whole city is powered 100% by renewable energy. We do not use any non-renewable sources of power. And this is not just in the present state, but even our commitment stays true for the airport as it grows and expands. Over the next few years, we're going to move from a 37 million passenger terminal to airport to about 65 million passengers in about 5 years. This is going to place a huge demand on power consumption and things like that, but we've got a power master plan as well to ensure that as we grow and expand, our power will continue to come from renewable sources of energy. Similarly, as far as water is concerned, I remember for the old Bangaloreans, you would remember when it was announced that the airport was to be set up in Devanhalli, everybody said these guys must be off their rockers because that's the wrong place to set up, because it's already a water-deprived area. It's a rain shadow area. It's going to have even a more debilitating impact on the groundwater, etc. So, and I think at that point of time, we said we must change this narrative around, because when we're undertaking a development as big as this, we can also create a positive change. Over the last 10 years, our water replenishment efforts have really produced rich dividends. And at this point of time, we are not just water neutral, but we are water positive by a long mile. So, Indian Institute of Science, whom we had partnered with, has done an audit and has confirmed that the quantum of water that we replenish is 2.6 times the total water that we consume every year. So in the last 2-3 months, when Bangalore was reeling from water shortage, that's when we reduced our water offtake from the city. So we do get water supply from the city. We get close to 3 million liters of water per day. But we reduced that to 1 million liters of water per day, and 2 million liters we started producing from our own sources. And our commitment is that by the end of this year, we'll stop taking water from the city altogether, and we will only depend on our own supply. I think these things are possible when you put your mind to it. And the good news is that this is not more expensive. It's actually even less expensive than for following the traditional route. It's actually a far more financially prudent way of running your business if you adopt sustainability principles. And in this regard, I think the center that you're establishing here has a very important role to play, because I think one of the important things that we need to still achieve is education and awareness. And I think this center will play a very important role. Any societal change starts with education. And I think a center of sustainability like this will play a very significant role in furthering the cause of education, as well as raising awareness amongst people. Also in creating a new breed of leaders, thought leaders, change makers, creators and innovators who will go forth into this world, who will bring together sciences and humanities and introduce pragmatic, implementable solutions that can actually make a difference on the ground. And that will also help encourage other people to do that. Second thing is that the center can play a very important role in research. I think research is a very important, and I saw that listed amongst things that the center is expected to do. And research, I think, will play a big role, because I think research can play a role in introducing new technologies, introducing new materials, and introducing new practices in the way we do things. And last but not the least, I think research will also help to reduce the cost of adopting sustainable solutions. In the aviation world, the holy grail is to be able to use sustainable aviation fuel for aircrafts. But at this point of time, it's an idea that's so distant, none of us can see the light at the end of the tunnel, because sustainable aviation fuel is produced at 5 times the price of traditional fuel. And with airlines already reeling under losses, it's very difficult for them to adopt sustainable aviation fuel. But research can help to try and innovate and find ways to produce this at a lower cost and at scale that can change this game completely. And last but not the least is about how the center can play a major role in integrating into communities and societies. No change is possible without, and something of this endeavor, this scale, an endeavor of this scale is not possible to undertake without involving societies, to involve with communities and understand what their true pain points are, what they need, and to be able to bring that together into practical solutions. Also, global synergies, so that we can share best practices. Share best practices so that companies and corporations and organizations and countries and states are aware as to what they can do to improve this. And all of these are huge opportunities that this center has in front of us. And I must not forget to mention the inspirational support that this center has got from luminaries like Prashant, Nitin, and Nikhil. They're just incredible to watch them at work, because these are people who make you truly believe that this philosophy, the fact that to do good you have to do well, and if you do well you must do good, it comes out really fantastically well in their case. Thank you so much for the incredible work that you do for society and the contributions that you guys make, because this is truly what will drive to make the world a better place. With this, I'd like to wish Chanakya University, the center, the very best in everything that you do, and you can be sure that Bangalore Airport will be very happy to support everything that you do, and we'd love to partner with you in research. We'd love to partner with you in trying out solutions that you may want to roll out, and in any way possible in the future. And our commitment and support is something that you can certainly count on. My best wishes, and thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, sir. We deeply appreciate the kind of time they are giving us, because as pioneers, we understand the kind of initiatives they are leading. So we are glad that they are with us today, and they're glad that they support our cause. In recognition of their contribution, their association with us, we are immensely pleased to have two very, very distinguished philanthropists and leaders, Sri Prashant Prakash and Sri Nitin Kamath, with us. Both have tread their own path and have set milestones for others to achieve. On this occasion, let me request the chairperson of the advisory board of the Center of Sustainability, Professor Subbarna Ayyappan, to lead our felicitation to these two distinguished leaders of the, requesting the leadership team of Chanakya University to join them in the felicitation of Sri Prashant Prakash and Sri Nitin Kamath. A man of few words, Sri Nitin Kamath is a co-founder and chief executive officer of Zerodha, the largest stock brokerage firm in India, headquartered in Bangalore. He is an Indian entrepreneur, stockbroker, and columnist for Financial Express. Nitin has gained recognition in the financial industry for his pioneering work in discount broking, which led to Zerodha's success. Nitin Kamath has been acknowledged for his achievements and influence in Indian business landscape. He has received several awards and accolades, including the Economic Times naming him among the top 10 businessmen to watch out for in India 2016. especially highlighting his contribution to discount broking. He's also received Forbes India Leadership Award, the Conscious Capitalist of year 2019. Sri Nitin and other founded Rain Matter, a non-profit organization in India. Rain Matter supports climate action, environmental health, and related livelihoods. They collaborate with CSO, NGOs, startups, and policymakers to address issues in forest, water, soil, farms, food system, ecology, energy, and transport. Rain Matter has committed $200 million in funding and grants to individuals and organizations working in these areas. Passionate about preserving and regenerating ecosystems, they support grassroots interventions and larger efforts to raise public awareness, viewing their work as an essential investment in our collective future. We deeply appreciate your presence with us, sir, today. Now we come to the keynote address. Very pleased to have with us an icon in India's agricultural revolution, recognized as the father of Blue Revolution. Allow me the privilege of introducing Professor Subarna Ayyappan. Professor S. Ayyappan, with a master's degree in fisheries sciences, has research in freshwater aquaculture, aquatic microbiology with over 125 research publications. Apart from his multiple distinguished careers in position, Sir has been a Secretary, Department of Agriculture, Research and Education, Government of India, and Director General, Indian Council for Agricultural Research. Has also been a President of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences. Has been a Chancellor of Central Agriculture University, Imphal, and Chairman, Karnataka Science and Technology Academy, Bengaluru. Presently the Chairman of NABL, Gurgaon, and Adjunct Professor at NIAS. Sir has been conferred the DSc honoris causa by more than 15 universities and is a recipient of several awards including Padma Shri in 2022 and Karnataka Rajyotsava in 2013. Sir has visited over 45 countries and his deep understanding and widening the horizon of his vision in food and agriculture, education and rural development, especially in developing countries. But the greatest privilege for us is Sir heads the Board of Advisory of our Chanakya Fellowship in Social Sciences. Sir, it's a privilege to have you, sir. Requested.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the kind words. Good afternoon, greetings on this occasion, a wonderful occasion. We have our esteemed chief guest this afternoon, Shri Hari K. Marar, the Managing Director and CEO of the BIL. A pride for the entire city of Bangalore, sir. Thank you very much for being with us. The president of today's program, Professor M.K. Sridhar, Chancellor of the Chanakya University, the Pro-Chancellor, Shri M.P. Kumar, the Vice Chancellor, Professor H.S. Ashok, a very benevolent donors, very wise and visionaries, I must say, having known Dr. Prashant Prakash, founding president of the Excel Bangalore for a long time now, Shri Nitin Kamaji, the co-founder of the Zeroda Bangalore, esteemed members of the Advisory Council of the Chanakya Center for Sustainability. I believe we have with us Dr. P.G. Divakar, ISRO chairperson at NIAS today in the audience, Shri P. Raghavendran, the former president of the Reliance Industries, Dr. T.V. Ramchandra, the professor from the Indian Institute of Science, and Dr. Sachidanand Tripathi. To all of you, and I know our colleagues in the university, Dean, Dr. Chetan Singhai, who is doing so much, colleagues in Mr. Yashwant Kumar Swami, colleagues from the university, student friends, delegates, to all of you, a very, very warm welcome and a wonderful occasion, as I mentioned, at the launch of the Center for Sustainability in Chanakya University. We have assembled for a very important occasion, much needed intervention at this stage for the planet Earth, a Center for Sustainability. At the time of Indian independence, we were told everything else can wait but not agriculture. That was the famous quote from the Honorable Prime Minister at that time. Now 75 plus years now after independence, at this stage, problems that we can, as the chief guest Mr. Mararji mentioned, the climate change. Nobody need to be circumspect about it. 20 years back, we thought, oh, one day it will happen. But today is the reality from space to earth to groundwater. And that happening, then the resource degradation, natural resources, soil, water, the emerging pest diseases, the antimicrobial resistance that we are all very familiar with by now, microplastics in blood, in the human blood, microplastics coming in. So you name it, the migration with all these problems. Today, everything else can wait, but not sustainability, addressing sustainability for our very survival, for survival of the human on the earth. Colleagues, friends, it's only 5 years from now when the temperature, the global temperature would rise. We have a clock now, temperature clock, by 1.5 degrees Celsius. It's only 5 years to have the temperature rise across the globe. And then this would affect crop productivity, animal, you know that, the soils, the water, emerging new diseases. God forbid, corona should not come again, but then the kind of diseases that we had never ever encountered earlier. So these kind of things, so only way that we can do something is immediate corrective measures and to become resilient, and for that to adapt, mitigate or remediate. We have 3 alternatives to be addressed immediately. Now the SDGs, I don't have to mention anything, all of us are familiar, the Sustainable Development Goals, 17 of them. And how much time frame we are left with? Only 6 years from now, 2030. Now are we going to be there? Or as a globe, are we doing enough? As a country, are we doing enough? For example, our esteemed chief guest mentioned how in the aviation sector they are taking to any measure that would kind of remediate, mitigate and adapt. So that's what we would like to have in every single sector of the economy. Also, the United Nations Conference of Parties, what did we commit? India has committed to 5 things. One is a non-fossil energy capacity by about 500 gigawatts by 2030. 50% of renewable energy by 2030. But sir, you have made the BL already 100% self-reliant in renewable energy. Reduce the total carbon emissions by 1 billion ton by 2030. Reduce the carbon intensity of the economy by 45%. And lastly, the target net zero by 2050. These are written commitments to the Conference of Parties, UN COPs, the recent conference also, which was held in Cairo, in Egypt. Now, SDGs talk of people, planet, the prosperity, peace, and partnerships. Sustainability is all about the environment, the equity, and the economy. With 810 crore people on the planet Earth today, and what we are, 143 crore Indians, on just 18% of the human population, on just 2.5% of the land, 4.2% of water. On that just 2.5 and 4.2, we are sustaining 18% of the human population and 15% of the livestock. That is the strength of this country, because we have that kind of biodiversity, fortunately, from Himalaya to Kanyakumari. That's what is sustaining us. Multiple agroclimatic conditions, as you mentioned, Australia in problem, US in problem, or you mentioned all those. Similarly, on the ground also, agriculture, food production systems are under threat across the globe. At the same time, fortunately, in India, given all these, we are able to sustain self-reliance, at the same time export. That's what we are doing in the food production systems. But having said that, what are we when it comes to global hunger index, malnutrition, the anemia prevalence in the rural areas? No, it's all huge. And then 2030, we were estimating 140 crore people by 2030, but now it's already 144.1 crore in 2024, and it would be easily 150 crore people on this Indian subcontinent by 2050. Now, to again speak of food, that's why we are very thankful, Dr. Prashant and Mr. Nitinji. As was mentioned, they have their own farms, they cultivate, they mix, they talk to farmers, so they are familiar. When it comes to food production in this country, we talk about 323 million tons of food grains, rice, wheat, maize, and so on. But added to that, fruits and vegetables, 350 million tons. Apple, in a remote village of Kerala, you can get it easily from Uttarakhand or Himachal. So then milk, we are the highest producers, 220 million tons, 10 million tons of meat, 18 million tons of fish, 180 billion eggs, and I can go on. While while the press always says just 330 millions of food grains, it is 1 billion ton of food. 1,000 million ton of food put together, and that's where we are able to sit in a comfortable hall like this and discuss issues. You can see the crisis going on in Afghanistan or Ukraine or in Israel or Gaza or whatever. Now, fortunately, India has not gone to that level. After the Bengal famine in 1930s, we are having droughts, but not famine conditions. But for that, prerequisite is so that they do not recur. Tsunami, we had seen what havoc it played, but then cyclones frequency you have seen. But then for all this, what we are looking at is, can we bring in some sustainability into food production systems? Please remember, we produce 11% of the global food, 23% of the Asian food, and it's about $500 billion of food that we produce, and export also something like $40 billion. Now, this is the strength of the farming community, unorganized sector, smallholder farmers, 80% of the farmers having less than 5 acres of land, 1, 2, 3 acres, a few cattle heads, and a few sheep, ruminants, poultry, and this what is the strength. But then put together, this country, and while we are nearing the centenary in another 20 years or so, we are able to talk with confidence, and this state of Karnataka also contributes something like 5% to the country's food basket. And then now, as I said, we have issues to be addressed, and then now at this time, we also are worried about the quality, food safety, and then related aspects. And that's where all these are closely related to soil and water. And then now the soil conditions are very poor, only 0.3% of organic carbon, while the ideal condition is 1%. And this again brings in the erosion, soil erosion. Can you believe every hectare of the farm will have something like 30 to 40 tons of soil eroded every year? I was not believing, I checked the data, and that's the kind of erosion that the soil undergoes. And then this is where we also are concerned about water. Water, can anyone tell how much water is required to produce 1 kilogram of paddy? Any guess? 1 kg of paddy, how much water might be required? Because we all come from villages. I keep on asking everybody, anyone from villages, they say, all of them say, no, we are from Bangalore. But fortunately, our chief guest said Devanahalli. At least one halli was mentioned. But then in Bangalore, there are Avalahalli, all kinds of hallis, but then everything is a conglomerated Bangalore, urban Bangalore. But then many of us come from farm families. If not my parents, my grandparents were doing farming, tilling. So I keep water, my student friends, water, 1 kilogram of paddy, just 1 kg paddy, 1300 to 1600 liters of water per kg of paddy. Evaporation, seepage, transpiration put together, and by the time we get 1 kg of rice, because 2/3 of paddy is only rice, and it would take about 2000 liters of water. Can someone imagine? This is the kind of water, banana, sugarcane, coconut, I can go on. Then the water demands are so huge. And that's where we keep talking of smart farming. Can we bring in some, transformational changes in aviation, transformation changes in energy sector, in telecommunications? So similarly, people keep asking, what are those transformations that are happening in farming, on the ground? How can you be more smart? And my farmer friends tell me, you are smart, you are today, of course, none of us is wearing a tie, but otherwise everybody is smart phone and smart city, but why not a farmer? And that's where Mr. Kamath, Zarodov, they're all doing their efforts to make a farmer smart. Farmers tell me, don't call me a farmer, because my father was a farmer, grandfather was a farmer, son is a farmer, but then you all become, every day you get promotions, and then what about me? So they say, you call us agripreneurs, you call us entrepreneurs. So that's where we are trying to look into all these kinds of terminologies. I won't take more time, but at this time the point is that concern, that comfort for the farmer, that respect that the farmer wants from the society for his very sacred function of food production. Now, this is where we are talking of, friends, carbon, water, energy, everything, smart, agriculture and farming, and then the gas emissions. Sir, every time we book a ticket, we get how many, we are written 610 kg of carbon emitted from yours. So we get worried throughout the journey. I'll be wondering, why did I take a air ticket? The point is, so similarly, here carbon emissions from dairying, from paddy is discussed, but at the same time, we would like to assure that agriculture is a strong carbon sequestration, capacity that it has. No other sector has. We absorb a lot of carbon. So that's where we are trying to bring in carbon credits. I was telling the Honorable the Pro-Chancellor, Mr. Kumarji, that he was asking what can be done more in farming immediately. Our farmers have been asking for carbon credits for smart farming. They still have not been able to get it. That could be one first step to the center of soil, the sustainability. Now, last point is 1/4 to 1/3 of food gets wasted. In the airlines, maybe we waste marriage functions, hostels, orphanages, you take anything. When we estimated about 25% minimum, 1/3 of food that we produce with great efforts get wasted. This is 1 lakh crore rupees easily every year. Can we do something about it? Our own small bit of contribution to save food. That's what we are asking for. And at this time, secondary agriculture, Mr. Kamatji must be you are doing it. Thank you very much. Primary processing, minimal processing, efficient storage, good supply chain, bring in efficiency in the whole the steps. That's what we are looking for. The startups are being talked of. Mr. Prashantji is a champion of startups, including agri-startups. In this country, about 1.2 lakh startups in all areas. And in agriculture, we are told about 7,000, but then about 1,500 very active. So this is what we would want to look at. When it comes to the continuum of agriculture to food, to nutrition, to health, to environment and employment. Because without employment, nobody would come to any sector. So we would like to make farming more attractive, more remunerative for the youth, and that's the complete chain from seed to market. And we have a strong food, water, energy nexus. So this center should be working on both energy and water when it comes to farming. And Chanakya University, a new generation university, multidisciplinary, beyond the business usual, futuristic, unique. So thanks to you, sir, the founders of this university, Jnana, Icha, Kriya. Wonderfully you have put them together. And today you have put 3 more things: caring, committing, and catalyzing. So this is where we think that Chanakya University is the ideal platform to start a center for sustainability, which is a rather complex concept. 25 years, 30 years back, friends, you would recall, when environmental science was introduced, nobody knew what it is. We all studied botany, zoology, chemistry, mathematics, but not environmental science. So we put them together. Today, environmental science has become a real science and a subject. Similarly, sustainability is so many things together, from plant to animal to soil to, usually spam, soil, plant, animal, and man. That's the continuum. But social sciences, economics, psychology, everything should be coming together. And that's where we think that under the stewardship of Professor M.K. Sridhar, the architect of the National Education Policy and several things that he has been associated with, we think that this center would become a real, because there are, at this time, let me tell you, there are several organizations, units, programs going on sustainability. But then what we would like to do is something, something on the ground, some action, like the BIAL has done, a glorious example, glaring example. It's already done. It's there for the model. So for that to be done, what we think is joining hands with, I call them benevolent donors, I call them angel donors. Is it right? Whether both are good, Mr. Prashantji and Mr. Kamath, because nowadays for such causes, the investment is not only investment, you have given a new impetus to the whole movement, to the whole concept. It's not just the investment. So we would like to thank you. And then a city like Bangalore, yes, so many interventions are required, and particularly this kind of a corporate, non-governmental, or whatever, voluntary approach is very much necessary. So we think in this endeavor, what we should be doing, like you said, you have Icha and Gnana, Icha, Kriya. I was thinking for this center, there should be a Tantra, a Mantra, and a Yantra. Tantra is some strategy. We should have a strong strategy. And mantra is, what is the approach that we should be making. And finally, we need yantra, some wherewithal, the mechanism to go about. And our advisory council, I must thank you, Mr. Professor Sridhar, and all the Pro-Chancellor, Chancellor, Mr. Prashantji, and Kamath, who have put together this advisory council from across the globe. So think global act local. You have made that advisory council in that manner, so we'd like to say how grateful we are. And your concepts, 4 areas that were projected, friends: sustainable agriculture and agriculture materials. On agriculture materials, I'll just take half a minute since the BIL chairman is here. So most of our farm implements and machinery, we want mechanization to happen. A lot of farm implements, machinery being designed, but at every stage, what we are encountering is the tools are rather, it adds to drudgery instead of reducing it. So we were advised we should immediately, hybridize with the aviation sector, because you have any kinds of combinations of metals, that are, there can be no better metal combination better than in the aviation sector. So we were told we should collaborate with you. So bring those light materials, so this is and it has not happened in this country for whatever reason. Today you are the chief guest and we have the esteemed mentors here. So I think this is one another attempt. This will greatly reduce the drudgery of our farming population. They will be very grateful if we can bring some smart implement. Otherwise, every time we talk of Israel, China, and here and there, but then without the backup. So kindly, that is one. Urban water management, I think this season in Bangalore has told that this is the thing to be done and nothing else. And then the thirdly, soil conservation, I already mentioned ecological balance. Finally, behavioral sustainability. I was really wondering, this is because in the science we put everything together, but not the behavior, our behavior, the way we should work towards sustainability. So for 4 ideal combinations with the vehicles of research, academics, policy, dissemination, and collaboration. So now what we would think is we could add more areas as we go along. Secondly, we could have expert panels in different areas identified. Thirdly, we can prepare with the expert groups strategy papers, policy papers, status papers, and approach papers. These 4 kinds of papers. Maybe to start with, we'll go to BIL itself and request them to guide us in one of these efforts. And then finally, the human resource development. We are just thinking the kind of students that we should be bringing out. Those who are good in science. At the same time, the legal framework, international negotiations. This is where we have seen sustainability issues do not go further because we are good in science, but we are not able to put across our points when it comes to global commitments. So these are the few things that we are immediately talking of. Collaboration with any center, as BIL has offered, the MD has offered, we can collaborate with any of the organizations on the ground who are working on sustainability, but we also carve out a niche for ourselves for the Chanakya Center of Sustainability, and on the ground show some pilots, that really make as good models. And this time I only think that it should be effective societal communication and action-oriented models. If these 2 are kept in front of us, I think something tangible would happen in 3 to 5 years. With these words, so very grateful to the entire fraternity of the Chanakya University and the guests on the dais, and to each one in the audience. But I am told 19 June 2024, the time has started, the clock has already started ticking down, you should show results. So now that's the task we are here, and then we request everyone's guidance for these efforts. Once again, thank you very much. Namaskara.
Thank you, sir. What an insightful research and profound humility. We are glad to have you with us, sir. As a token of our appreciation for the presence of Professor Ayyappan, request the leadership of Chanakya University to kindly felicitate his presence, requesting the leadership also the dignitaries to join this, a small token of our appreciation for his presence and association with Chanakya University. Request the dignitaries to join. Thank you, sir. This humility is truly an honor to witness. Sri Prashant Prakash, a central figure in India's startup ecosystem since its inception, a founding partner of Axel Partners in India, has played a foundational role in shaping some of the country's most successful startups, including Flipkart, Ola, Freshworks, BookMyShow, and Swiggy. His career began with founding the Visual Reality in '95, one of India's first animation companies, followed by establishment of Netcraft in 1997, which became a leading offshore solution provider. Since 2004, Prashant Prakash has been a pivotal figure in venture capital, co-founding Erasmic Ventures, which later became Accel India. His focus spans across digital-first consumer brands, B2B, agri-tech, and SaaS, with investments in over 35 Indian tech startups. Beyond the startup realm, Sri Prashant Prakash is deeply committed to social impact and community development. He serves on the National Startup Advisory Council and chairs Karnataka's Vision Group for Startups. His leadership in initiatives like Shikshana Foundation, ACT grants, and Unboxing BLR Foundation demonstrates his dedication to education, healthcare, environmental sustainability, and cultural heritage. Additionally, through the Krishi Kalpa Foundation, he works to improve incomes and livelihoods for small and marginal farmers. Prashant's efforts extends to rejuvenating lakes, promoting sustainable ecotourism, and advocating for gender diversity and women empowerment. His works have significantly contributed to making Bengaluru a robust startup hub and enhancing the overall socio-economic fabric of India. It's truly a privilege to have you with us, sir. Requesting you to share a few thoughts.
Good evening to one and all. It's a pleasure to be here under a very special dais with a lot of friends here in my midst here, and friends and people I know who have pioneered a very flagship, pivotal effort in the form of Chanakya. Professor Sridhar and and Ayappan and me have worked together now for about 4 or 5 years, and I've just seen so much commitment and so much energy from him. So we couldn't have had a better person to guide us in our efforts. And Nitin, I did not necessarily give him a lot of warning in getting him involved. I kind of just sprung a surprise on him and said, "You're part of this." I didn't even ask him if he's going to really support it. But thank you, Nitin and Nikhil, for the support. And Hari, you've really been a role model, not only because of what we face here in the city, because of us not having the confidence in Bangalore to say that any of our problems are tractable, right? I think the first thing that everybody has a sense in Bangalore is, let's look at Mysore, let's look at some other city, because this city is done. It's beyond redemption. But I think what you've been able to demonstrate is with the right focus, and I think it is with that optimism that we want to really use as a champion, right, role model, to really say that you need a catalytic effort, and that catalytic effort has to be one that brings together different stakeholders, and that catalytic effort has to be one that leverages the strengths that we have in Bangalore. What are some of the strengths we have in Bangalore? I think we have a lot of well-meaning people who want to contribute to the city. We have an ecosystem that thrives on innovation, but we've not been able to leverage that innovation for some of our key urban challenges that still seem to dog us in the city. The other big thing that we have in Bangalore is we have a lot of research institutions, and we have many institutions who can contribute towards the climate challenges that were put forth by a lot of my friends here. But I think we need somebody to orchestrate a lot of these efforts. And we need a concerted effort to take research and community efforts and entrepreneurship and somehow bring these together to create change in not 50 years, not 20 years, but I think we need to do something for the city in the next decade. I think that's all we have, right? So we don't have more than a decade to redeem the city and to reverse what degradation we have already caused in the city. So I think it's really important that we have not only just this one effort from Chanakya, but we need the efforts from each one of you here to, in a sense, recommit to this goal that in the next 10 years, we can, and Bangalore has shown in many areas that we have as a city been a city of hope. We have been a city that in many areas have shown the path for the rest of the country, and we can do that in sustainability too. And we should not, lose this opportunity, right? So there are many cities in India which I believe don't have the same set of ingredients that I just spoke about, where you can put them together and you can create that impact and change in a reasonable amount of time. So I again want to end with this optimistic note and throw it as a challenge to the school that we are setting up today and to each one of us present here, because a lot of you are people working on the ground and trying to create that impact. So let's together in the next few years, and definitely within this next one decade, show that Bengaluru can, like many other things we have done, show the way to say that a city can be an economic engine and a sustainable one at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Your action speaks louder than words, so we understand, sir. Thank you. Requesting the Honorable Chancellor, Chanakya University, Padma Shri Professor M.K. Sridhar for his presidential remarks.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಸೀನರಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಅಯ್ಯಪ್ಪನವರೇ, ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ್ ಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಅವರೇ, ಕಾಮತ್ ಅವರೇ, ಮರಾರ್ ಅವರೇ, ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಅಶೋಕ್ ಮತ್ತು ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂಧು ಭಗಿನಿಯರೇ, I think with the launch of Center for Sustainability, Chanakya University, after nearly 2.5 years, has 6 schools, 3 centers, 2 chairs, and indomitable spirit to build the future. I think this is extremely important, what we have and what we want to achieve. I think from that angle, the timing of Center of Sustainability at Chanakya University in the very, very initial years of its establishment has a very important message to be given to insiders as well as to the outsiders. Insiders, the student, faculty and all others, yes, we need to be sustainable from day one. And the message to outsiders is also that as a young university, we can definitely bring about that change, because it is youth has the passion, has the spirit, and also has converted into action. So I feel and wish that this Center for Sustainability will sustain not only the center, also the university, but the entire planet in its own small way. Friends, I think the model set up by our neighbors, Mr. Maharaj, BIAL, Kempegoda International Airport, and normally when anybody asks us, where are you located? We always say, near International Airport. I think this kind of a model that you have built has really come as a blessing for us. The kind of utilization of water, drawing zero water from the resources of the city is extremely good. At the same time, the two people, Mr. Prashant Prakash and Mr. Kamath brothers, they have come forward for a young university to start a center. That shows your confidence in us, that shows your expectation from us. And I think Professor Ayyappan, so the three things that you said, Tantra, Mantra, and Yantra, will be the goalposts of Center for Sustainability. Namaskar, thank you. Let us march towards the Center for Sustainability. It is only a vehicle, it is only an instrument which will become a movement. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. With Sir at the helm, we are never wanting in inspiration. Sir tells us that I am like this, indicating I'm always on the move. Thank you so much, sir, for that inspirational leadership. On this occasion, permit me to take a little time to introduce the concept of CFSS, Chanakya Fellowship in Social Sciences, a postgraduate diploma program at Chanakya University connected for public policy initiatives. In its second year of its inception, this certificate program, this postgraduate diploma program, has been designed to convert young academics into public policy professionals with sustainability at the core. With a lot of inputs, this course keeps getting revised, and may I request the dignitaries here to kindly present this revised brochure of Chanakya Fellowship in Social Sciences to this august audience, reaffirming our commitment to sustainability studies and practices. So requesting the dignitaries to kindly present, and we seek their blessings for this revised, renewed initiative. Also, this occasion is truly special because we have Professor S. Ayyappan as member of the advisory board of Chanakya Fellowship in Social Sciences. This is a unique program with courses handled by practitioners, professors from across the world to a select group of graduate students who are currently interning at public policy institutes. So with the induction of Professor S. Ayyappan, we believe this will get a new boost in our initiative. Thank you, sirs. Thank you. On that note, we come to a very interesting component of this evening's launch program. We have what is understood as a fireside chat. It's a discussion among industry experts and intellectual leaders. Why is it called fireside chat? Because we believe the ideas shall definitely ignite a lot of thoughts. So, requesting the leadership and the dignitaries to kindly take their seat in the front row so that we shall have a very insightful discussion. We believe it shall trigger a lot of thoughts. The fireside chat shall be moderated by Dr. Chetan Singhai, a young, dynamic academic and a thought leader who is a dean of the School of Law and Public Policy at Chanakya University, has had his education in JNU and has been an Erasmus Mundus Scholar in Europe, has traveled widely and was a technical consultant to the NEP Drafting Committee. He has traveled widely, taught widely, and trained widely. So, Dr. Chetan Singhai, the Dean of the School of Law, Governance and Public Policy, shall be moderating this fireside chat. May I invite the panelists, Sri Raghavendran B. Sri Raghavendran holds a B.Tech in Mechanical Engineering from IIT Madras and was awarded the President of India Prize for Best Student, and holds a management degree from MIT Boston. Was a president of Reliance Industries refineries from 94 to 2020 and oversaw the Jamnagar refinery commissioning and established various marketing businesses. He commenced his career with IOCL and advanced from management trainee to head marketing in the eastern region. Has been a distinguished professional and has been an advisor to multiple bodies in the domain, both at the central level. His role also includes as a vice chairman of the Petroleum Federation of India and trustee roles in various ports and subsidiaries of RIL and IOCL. Currently a consultant and trainer in thinking skills and energy transition. That is Sri P. Raghavendran. Welcome to you, sir. We also have with us today on the fireside chat Dr. P. G. Divakar, a distinguished scientist at ISRO. Currently the Director of Earth Observation and Disaster Management at ISRO headquarters with a PhD in Participatory Geomatics from NIT Surathkal. Has been with ISRO for over 35 years, focusing on digital image processing software solution, geospatial technologies. Sir's notable positions include Head of the Regional Remote Sensing Center, Associate Director of Earth Observation System, and Scientific Secretary at ISRO. Has received multiple awards, including ISRO Team Excellence Awards and National Gold Award for E-Governance Innovation. Dr. Divakar has over 100 publications in national and international journals. Privileged to have you, sir. Over to Dr. Chetan Singhai to moderate the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sandeep, for this nice and detailed introduction. And it's a pleasure to be on both on my right and left, distinguished. One side we have scholar and also researcher come corporate personnel who has been leading a lot of initiatives at Reliance. And sir, we have been seeing his work in ISRO as well as now in NIAS. So in this fireside chat, we are more keen on understanding rather candidly how you have been engaging both in terms of the expertise and the experience, and how this too leads to evidence of understanding sustainability. So maybe I'll start with you first. So these three aspects of people, planet, and profit, the complex triad where the sustainable development is currently situated as a corporate and being in the largest conglomeration of industries, how do you see that we could overcome and address certain challenges in this complex triad? So we request you to share your thoughts.
I think any human endeavor challenges.
Yeah, closer to you.
Any human endeavor challenges of doing the appropriate trade-offs always exist, and these trade-offs between profit, people, and the planet, environment, is a corporate reality. And successful tackling of such trade-offs come with first understanding what is the overall holistic positioning of the corporate in its environment. What are the various ways in which the corporate itself will create problems for the environment as well as opportunities for solving the problems of the environment. So once we understand all the interactions of a corporate in its existence in relationship to the environment, then it is more easy to understand the trade-offs that are involved and make the appropriate trade-offs to enable corporate survival. Now, let me illustrate this with a simple example. If, as an oil company, we have our own issues with regard to pollution, right? Fossil fuel, pollution go together. I mean, now in terms of global warming, any fossil fuel, coal or oil or natural gas, will essentially lead to pollution. On the other hand, you need fossil fuels in the past. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, fossil fuels have played a great role. Coal, followed by oil, and later natural gas. All of them have played a significant role in the progress that we have achieved during the Industrial Revolution period. So, how do we manage this change? That pollution is there along with growth. And at the same time, we need to, as a corporate, survive in this environment where the environment or the society is demanding pollution control. At the same time, you have to survive as an organization. So, as a corporate placed in such a situation, we have always had a very balancing role in trying to ensure that the pollution prevention measures, we were at the forefront of developing the technologies for that. And in the use of the equipment by our users, how do we make sure that those improvements take place in the system and come back at the earliest without affecting our own profitability in the process. So this meant working with the rest of the system, which means government, other bodies, etc., so that we have improvements taking place in our national standards. And once it becomes compulsory for everybody to produce fuels of better specifications, it becomes easier for the corporate to sustain its profitability while at the same time implementing pollution control measures. So when Reliance first started, it was clear to us that our market is not just India. Our market in India used to be an importer of petroleum products, but we had to market to the rest of the world. And it was also clear to us that our survival will depend on using the worst crudes in the world and convert it into the best products that are in demand in the world. So that meant a huge challenge in terms of taking the worst products, converting it into the most cleanest products that are demanded in markets like US, Europe, etc. Can we survive in such a condition as a market when the domestic market gave us better returns compared to the international market? We had to ensure that Indian specifications grew fast enough to match the international specifications, and we had to provide the capability to do that. That means unless the refineries in India geared up with the required technologies and adopted the technologies in time, this would not have happened. But I am happy to say that the stellar role played by Reliance in ensuring that Indian specifications rose to match the international specifications in US and Europe. Today we are not second to anybody in terms of the quality of the products that we market in India. And this we could do without affecting our own corporate profitability. So
that is something which I would like to definitely come back as a follow-up. Thank you for this insight, sir, because that is something which is very useful for the young audience here about how you eventually took over this whole process as a case in point, maybe a specific example. Maybe let me now move to from private sector to a very, very prominent and it has become a talk of the town after Chandrayaan to ISRO. So maybe request sir to share, because ISRO has been in the forefront of space technology research. And what is interesting of ISRO is faster, better, and cheaper has been one of the mission mode in which we have seen. But also we have the other side of the ISRO, which is not visible publicly, meaning in the sense the outcomes are visible, but the ideation behind what unique projects have been taken up for sustainability, which you may want to share as an insider, and now looking at researching on these domains to the audience. Over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, basically everybody looks at ISRO as a rocket goes up. People look at ISRO that say this is a rocketing kind of a center, or when a satellite gets deployed, people talk about the satellites, or when you land on the moon or go to the Mars, you talk about planetary systems and things like that. But we do a lot of things on Earth also. That I think very little is talked about.
For Earth and on Earth, yes, yes.
So, in fact, the kind of things what ISRO has done for India has been a very good example for many other countries to follow also. I was part of some of those implementations. Very relevant to what we are talking about today, sustainability. We have done a lot of things with respect to soil and water, like Professor Ayyappan talked about it. We have been using space data as well as ground data to understand the soil type, and possibly the properties of the soil so that you can do things what is required on the ground. At the same time, you will be surprised to know that we have been able to map the entire groundwater possibilities or potential for the country. That means any part of the country you take, we have the groundwater potential maps available. This is something very unique and it has been used in the country. And of course, when you are talking about sustainability with respect to groundwater, we have also been able to say which are the areas where you need to go for rechargeable points so that you will be able to recharge the groundwater. Because water you do exploit using bore wells, but at the same time, if you are able to make recharge pits, it is possible for you to recharge the groundwater so that the water cycle is restored. So space has done this using space data and ground data in a big way for the entire country. And one of the important things which I would like to mention here is the watershed development. I'm sure Professor Ayyappan knows it very well, and we should be talking about it in a big way in our Center for Sustainability. Watershed development really looks at the gradient on the ground, and we have the stereo imaging capability from space, which literally gives you every 5 meter by 5 meter what is the kind of gradient what you have on the ground. So we can literally make the entire drainage density map of the surface of the earth. It is possible for you to make the catchments, it is possible for you to make the watersheds.
How close is the sensing?
You can go down to even 1 meter resolution kind of a thing. And it's a very, very high resolution for you to make all kinds of landscape designs straight away from space data. And this is the kind of data which we need to be talking about, especially when you are looking at a particular terrain where you would like to see which way you would like to orient the water. For example, runoff we talk about in a big way. The runoff calculations can be beautifully done. We talked about erosion in the initial session. Erosion can be mapped from space. We have done it for the entire country. So these kind of databases happen in such a way that they can be utilized for sustainable development in a very big way. And in fact, because of the kind of examples what we have, I am part of the UN team for SDGs, which we talked about. I am quite regularly in touch with the Bangkok team for Asia Pacific region. The kind of advices what we give with our experience in India is being utilized for Asia Pacific region also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I would like to come back to that watershed project and the components that you mentioned about. Maybe let me request sir again to share similarly an insider view of a sustainability initiative at Reliance that stands out to you, being in the thick of the decision-making process and being part of the such a large conglomeration. Would you like to recollect a particular sustainability initiative which could be valuable to our audience at Reliance?
I think the one intervention at Reliance which was meaningful in terms of sustainability was leading off from what I mentioned earlier. We had to use the worst crudes in the world and produce the most cleanest fuels of the world. Given that challenge, what do we do with sulfur to start with? We had to use high sulfur fuels because they were available at discounts as high as 10% of the value of the crude in many parts of the world. And to produce the cleanest fuels which are required with at that time India was, when we first started our refinery, India had a specification of 1% sulfur in diesel. That's unthinkable today. Today we are dealing with 10 ppm sulfur and even lower sulfur fuels as the requirements for diesel. So this kind of transformation that we needed, what do we do with the sulfur in the crude? So we had to have a very innovative, at that point of time, a deeply innovative solution in our refinery configuration. What we tried was to go for a very deep conversion using a very high capacity cokers and FCCs, very deep conversion refinery. Was tried for the first time in the world. Nobody had put up a giant sized refinery with giant sized cokers and giant sized fluidized bed crackers to convert the sulfur in the fuel ultimately into a solid product, either in the form of elemental sulfur, for which there was a demand for conversion into sulfuric acid and producing for the fertilizer industry, needed elemental sulfur, which we were importing at that point. So we could convert all the sulfur in the fuel into elemental sulfur, and we are still left with almost 8% of the crude throughput in the form of a solid coke. Now, there was no market for it. Coke can't be burned in a normal furnace or a boiler because all the sulfur dioxide will come out and would not be an acceptable industrial fuel. It would not meet the specifications of the local specifications of sulfur dioxide emissions. So one of the very innovative things our team built was to use a technology which was already prevalent in Europe, in the cement industry, to convert the coke as a suitable fuel. So India, after we started our refinery, we were able to persuade the entire cement industry one by one to convert from use of coal to use of coke. Because in the cement industry, what happens is that in the clinker formation, in fact, gypsum is added to clinker for some properties. So the gypsum is sulfate, which is, so the sulfur in the fuel goes largely in the form of gypsum into the, as part of the cement mix and gets fixed into, it is like getting it fixed into the soil. The other alternative we had at that point of time was actually to buy out huge plots of land and bury this quantity. In fact, our original configurations were all talking about burying all the coke that we produce, because there was no way we could emit that into the atmosphere.
What would be the quantity roughly in terms of, if at all that would happen?
It's about, with the worst crudes in the world, we are talking about something like 8 to 9%, which is a huge quantity. We are talking about, at that time we were thinking about, first refinery started with a capacity of 22 million tons. So that itself would have produced something like close to 2 million tons of coke in a year. With the second refinery, today we are running at 67 million tons. So that's a huge quantity, 5 million tons of coke. Our plan was to originally bury it in the quarries itself from nearby. Cement plants were using a lot of quarries, so to bury it there. But then we found a practical use for the coal. There's a replacement of a coal by the cement industry and absorbing it in the system. So a sustainable way, which ultimately we are glad to say almost the entire cement industry converted in that sector. Today we are in a reverse problem. We don't have enough coke, so we are not
really able to. That's, but thank you, sir. Now my extended question to your earlier response, sir, is often we see that sustainability issues are addressed as more of a reactive sort of approach rather than proactively looking at. And we have seen the Bangalore urban water issue, particularly urban water management, sustainable agriculture practices. So what would be a value add from ISRO and their work in order to be proactive in addressing such issues? Would you like to share some examples to the audience so that we can take that forward and thinking also towards a logical end?
Yeah, this is a major problem what we are facing in Bangalore, and we have been doing a lot of work using varieties of data over Bangalore using space data. So recently we did some work wherein we took about 50 years of satellite data covering the entire Bangalore.
Is it real-time data or is it collected as archive?
Yeah, it's historical data starting from 1973 onwards up to 2023. So about 50 years of data, and we started looking at what really has happened, and we were able to literally see the kind of urbanization. If I had possibly slides, I would have shown you the kind of damage what we have done to Bangalore,
Yeah.
particularly the haphazard urbanization that has happened. While doing this haphazard urbanization, literally we have finished off most of the important drainage systems. When I look back at 1973 data, the beautiful drainage systems are seen so nicely. The network of water bodies connected by the drainage channels are so beautifully seen. But today, if you look at exactly the same area, you literally see all sorts of developments that has taken place, covering up most of the floodplains and including the important drainage channels. What we talk about as
How is this
Raja
data-
Kaluve, for example,
Correct.
most of the
So
Raja
the
Kaluves
data
are
that you mentioned, how is that critical for now to address the issue of?
See, if you take the
water management?
2022 floods that took place in Bangalore, we were able to analyze even that, why it happened really, because of the choking of the drainages. See, the beauty of Bangalore topography is, again, from the stereo data, you are able to analyze that so beautifully. Literally, Bangalore is made in such a way that it is not supposed to be flooding at any given point of time, unless you recklessly damage the entire urbanization, which we have done. So if it's a beautiful water divide. So if it rains heavily in Bangalore also, the natural drainage system should take away the water out of the Bangalore very easily because of the topography. But today, because we have covered up the whole area, water doesn't find a place to go in its natural way, it will find all its way. So hence, flooding has taken place. Literally, most part of the eastern part of Bangalore got flooded because the channel in which the water was supposed to go and reach Hoskote tank, for example, literally was choked. It went into all sorts of other areas. So the urbanization has been done very recklessly, and that is coming out very clearly from this. So if we have to really address that, we need to see to that we make way for the water to pass by. Even with the existing urbanization today, what really sits on these channels, we should make way in such a way. In fact, we should bring in policies, what we talked about in the first session, so that we can allow the natural water to flow out of Bangalore, and it could be harnessed at a given point of time so that it could be utilized usefully for bringing it back to Bangalore. For example, Hoskote, if we are able to improve the capacity of Hoskote tank, allow the water to go to Hoskote tank, it is possible for you to bring back Hoskote tank water as a usage of Bangalore. Just like on the western side you have Tipgunalli, you can certainly use Hoskote, and we can find a couple of more tanks.
So there's enough scope for evidence-based intervention
So a typical,
for policy suggestions. Yes.
In fact, there's a beautiful illustration of the databases what we have, which very clearly shows how you can manage the water much better as compared to what we have done.
How much of this data is publicly accessible? Because we have young researchers here in case if they want
In fact,
to.
all this data has been done with the public data only.
Excellent.
And anybody interested can come to me, I'll be able to provide this data.
So we have now way forward here with Professor Diwakar. So last question to I would say the final round for us to get your insights, because you are now, we are really thankful to you to be part of this center and this initiative. What would be your message to the center for short term, mid term, long term? Like short term would be year to 2, and mid term would be 3 to 5, and long term would be 10 years, as being in the thick of the initiatives that you have been already associated with.
I think for the short term, I think the team at Chanakya has done an excellent job in identifying focus area. That is very important. I mean, you need to get some quick results, the low-hanging fruits in terms of some projects which create an image for the Center of Sustainability, bring it enough credibility. Once the credibility is established, what happens is a self-reinforcing cycle of quality creeping into the system and improving quality of faculty, quality of students, quality of the research work, quality of output, and then it reinforces its own image. So it's very important for the Center of Sustainability to get some low-hanging fruits.
You have any specific suggestions?
I think from what he was describing, I would think it is a very important problem for the city.
Water management.
Water management. And with the data that is available, projects of that kind, which can at least show immediately a path forward, and in terms of a policy paper for the government to act on, or because you can't do everything yourself as a university, but it is something which needs to lead to some tangible result in a short period of time. Once you have those low-hanging fruits in the system, you need to embark on many other, so this is the ideation phase, creating status papers and creating a name or image for yourself. In the medium term, I would say you need to develop your in-house talent. In-house talent would be in terms of trained faculty and people who could guide the students to become the change agents when they go into communities for any intervention, any social intervention. As everybody was mentioning on the dais, sustainability is all about action on the ground, creating changes on the ground. Much of what is needed to be done in idea terms is already available. I can speak from whatever experience I've had on CSR projects. CSR projects, corporates spend a lot of money. One of the problems with many of the CSR projects is that we don't know. We as corporates have our own goals to pursue, our own, it's not in our core line of business, so not as much attention goes into the areas in which CSR funds are going to see that it is effectively utilized. But there is always a nagging fear, we are spending so much of money, are we getting the value for the money? And we know that many projects are not producing the results which it is supposed to produce. And we also know that it is because we do not have change agents on the ground who can actually convert ideas into action effectively. And this is where I was proposing for the Chanakya University creation of an educational system on special thinking skills, systems thinking, holistic thinking, to look at a problem in totality rather than looking at how to resolve disputes, because any change will involve stakeholders with differing views. You need to find solutions for disputes, and the change agents need to be trained to elicit everybody's views, go with the community perception of what is really needed, choose such projects and implement those projects on the ground so that there is community support and the project has a reasonable chance of producing useful results for the community. So that's the medium term.
Yeah.
Long term, well, I would say that yes, if you get these things right on the ground, I think India is on the cusp of an opportunity in terms of a very fast-growing economy and therefore a bright future for all of us, but is also a tropical country where the worst impact of climate change would be actually felt, as Professor Ayyappan was talking about, how agricultural productivity, which is so far very good and we are exporting, how in tropical countries that has more impact. In fact, in the temperate zones, productivity probably actually improves because of the rise in temperature, but tropical countries, productivity goes down, agricultural productivity goes down. So we have challenges of that kind coming in the system. So challenges, opportunities, a large enough population and an opportunity to make a difference. So while several institutions will be there looking at this problem, it's a buzzword, and many sustainability initiatives are taking place all over the world. Can we do sustainability meaningfully in a country where there are a lot of opportunities for projects, with all the students that we have, with the faculty, and can we establish a name for ourselves as the institute to go to for ideas in this area, and as someone who has already succeeded in many of these projects. And that builds the entire university's image and reputation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. In fact, that is so closely and directly aligned to the purpose and vision of the university also, which is creating transformative leaders with a holistic learning exposure. Finally, Professor Dibakar, we have seen, as we have heard already, that there is a gap between the reality and the research that happens. And essentially, there's a gap between the industry, the academia, the practice and the academia. So how do you see being in both, in the sense an organization which is working closely with issues on ground, plus now with the institute which is doing research? How do we bridge this gap? Because this will be one of the challenge going forward to any institution. So your suggestions and thoughts for the center to bridging this gap between industry and academia.
In fact, the industry and the academia should be working very closely to address any problem that need to be solved. I think I feel unless very high quality research is done in academia, the offshoot of this research gets into industry, and industry indulges in getting things done on the ground, because we should have very clear lines of activities defined for both academia and industry. That doesn't mean that industry doesn't work with academia. It will be part and parcel of it, but the roles and responsibilities of the industry and academia, if it is properly defined, I don't see any reason to have any barriers between the two. I don't see at all, because the kind
Do
of...
you have any suggestions for the center, Chanakya Center of Sustainability, that we could maybe the first one to initiate this role setting and having this kind of a direction set forth?
I would suggest that the center initially can have a clear vision, number one. With respect, that means it is a long-term vision. You talked about 10 years, for example. Let us say 10 years vision. So keeping that 10 years vision, break it down into smaller pieces for mid-term and short-term. So take the specific objectives of the short-term, come out with a very clear plan of action. Like, for example, I was talking about databases. Let us do a proper planning, proper data analysis, come out with specific results that can be taken onto the ground. Now, once you have reached that level, it is possible for us to bring in the industry on the mechanisms of implementation of that particular plan on the ground. But the thing is, whenever an industry would like to do something on the ground, it is necessary for us to have the government also involved. There's nothing that you can do without involving the government right from the beginning. I feel the center can do very well if we have industry, academia, as well as government triad. That is the way I think we should approach, because many of the sustainable development related problems, what I have addressed, we have been successful when all the three were together. And working of the industry and academia is pretty easy, but bringing the government into the system may take a little bit of effort, additional effort, which has to be put into. So this center should do that job.
Correct. Thank you. I'm sure with the expertise and experience of the advisory committee put together, I'm sure it is very optimistic that we could think of bringing these three complex triad points together. Thank you, sir, once again. Thank you for your inputs. And I'm sure it has really ignited some thought by virtue of calling it as fireside talk. I'm sure it will be also leading some igniting thoughts and ideas among the youngsters who are here. And I'm sure it will take forward to our center's agenda also. Thank you so much. Thank you all for your...
Thank you, Dr. Singhai. Thank you. Requesting the dignitaries to stay there to mark our appreciation for your presence and association, sir. May I request the Honorable Pro-Chancellor, Sri M.P. Kumar, sir, along with the Vice-Chancellor, Professor H.S. Ashok, sir, to kindly felicitate the participants, Professor P.G. Dibakar, sir, and Sri Raghavendran, sir. we would also like to acknowledge and appreciate the presence of two more esteemed members of the Advisory Board of the Center for Sustainability. That's Professor Dr. T.V. Ramachandra. Kindly request Professor Ramachandra to kindly come up on the stage. Professor Sachidananda Tripathi, Professor from IIT Kanpur, requesting Professor Tripathi to also join us on the stage. Professor Dr. T.V. Ramachandra is a coordinator of Energy and Wetland Research Group, convener of the Environmental Information Center at the Center for Ecological Sciences, Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. Professor Sachidananda Tripathi, Professor at the Department of Environmental Energy Engineering, IIT Kanpur, is an expert on air quality monitoring and climate change. We are truly glad to have you with us, sir, as members of the Advisory Board of the Chanakya Center for Sustainability. So, we appreciate that these extraordinary researchers are into applied and translational research, which is the mission of Chanakya Center for Sustainability. Thank you, sirs. Thank you. Thank you. As we come to the concluding section of this session, we are very, very happy to have a very unique component, that is felicitation of practitioners of sustainability. We are glad to let you know that we have some on-the-ground people who are doing extraordinary service for sustainability, and we were happy to invite them, and they are with us today. Requesting them to kindly come up on stage so that we can appreciate their work and presence and also hold them as inspiration for our work. We have with us Sri K. Balaji. Kindly come up, please. Sri K. Balaji. Sri Lingaraju Aras. Sri Raghu Muniyappa. Sri Divanshu Kumar. Dr. Kavita Sairam, Srimati Kritika Ravishankar, Srimati Deepa Nagaraj, a very quick and brief introduction, although I may not have the time to appreciate their work. Sri K. Balaji, fondly called Bali. He is an environmental enthusiast from Bengaluru. His important role is in lake preservation and restoration. He channeled his expertise and passion into what he aptly describes as national service. Began in 91 and since then has become a driving force behind maintenance and revival of 15 lakes in Bengaluru, including Sigehalli Lake, Betterhalli Lake, Hudi Lake, KR Puram, Gangashetty, Varanasi, and several others. Bali's commitment extends beyond mere lake maintenance. He's been a torchbearer of awareness, constantly organizing programs for impactful awareness. His tireless efforts is named as Undumane Eradu Gida, and his project is termed as Can Bhagiratha. He distributes cans so that people can water the plants along the lakes. Through Parisara Ke Shanivara, he promotes a culture of community engagement in environmental stewardship. His other initiatives include Volunteering Sunday. Sri Balaji sir, truly an inspiration. Thank you. requesting felicitation to commence. Sri Lingaraju Aras, a stalwart in environmental conservation and community leadership over past 2 years, Lingaraju has been a president of Federation, RWA's communities and Greater Whitefield area known as Force DW. Convener of Mahadevapura Task Force, he has spearheaded numerous environmental initiatives. Before the advent of CSR, Sri Lingaraju engaged in local communities in vital activities such as cleanups, sapling plantation, and solid waste management. His commitment to environmental sustainability is evident from his involvement in the removal of encroachment from 6 lakes in Whitefield area during their development phase. Sri Lingaraju also played a vital role in Swachh Bharat mission in the Panchayat of Greater Whitefield and was a frontliner in the establishment of Atal Botanical Garden in Kannamangala. As a mentor, he's guided village-level leaders in maintaining clean and sustainable environments, with Kannamangala being cited as a model lake restoration effort by many panchayats. His influence extends to corporate sector as well, motivating several companies to undertake CSR projects. Sri Lingaraju's dedication and leadership have made a significant impact on our community and environment. Happy to have you, sir. Sri Lingaraju, sir. Sri Raghu Muniappa. Bangalore was reeling under water crisis, and citizens have forgotten the contribution made by Bovi Vaddar community, native well diggers. Raghu Muniappa is a well digger and has inherited essential craft from his ancestors. Played a vital role in construction of wells across states including Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Maharashtra. Has constructed over 1,500 wells, providing essential water. Sri Raghu Muniappa's family has been a profession. He takes pride in the crucial role and his family play in ensuring water security. For Raghu, well digging is not a job but a social responsibility. He supplements his income by working as a cab driver. Truly, truly appreciable. Raghu believes in while technology and machinery may pose a threat to livelihood and traditional well diggers, they can never replace the native intelligence and deep understanding of the landscape and topography that their community possesses. Sri Raghu Muniappa, we are privileged to have you with us. Sri Divanshu Kumar. Divanshu Kumar is a co-founder of Solinas Integrity, a deep tech startup that develops robots to reduce water losses and in pipelines and eliminates manual scavenging. An IIT Madras graduate, he is a Prime Minister awardee and has a passion to create more entrepreneurs to solve social problems. That is Sri Divanshu Kumar. Sri Divanshu Kumar to step up, please. Dr. Kavita Sairam. Dr. Kavita Sairam is the founder of Fipsol, an innovative biotechnology company based in India. She is a seasoned biotechnologist with extensive experience in microbial biotechnology and sustainable agriculture. Dr. Sairam holds a PhD in biotechnology from IIT Madras and has worked extensively on developing biofertilizers and biopesticides. Dr. Kavita Sairam. Sir, she may not be there. Srimati Kritika Ravishankar. Srimati Kritika Ravishankar? Yeah.
She's not here, I'm just representing.
Name, ma'am?
Archita.
We are happy to have Ms. Archita representing Srimati Kritika Ravishankar, co-founder of Farmers for Forests. Spent over a decade working in rural India across sectors like public distribution system, health, agriculture, forests. Deeply passionate about wildlife, forests, growing food, rural livelihoods, and financial markets. Before co-founding Farmers for Forests, with two of her closest friends, she worked in international development and equity markets. She studied economics and environmental studies in college and continues to be fascinated with how the two can interact and intersect better. We are happy to have you. Happy to have Srimati Deepa Nagaraj. Am I right? Yeah. A global head of communications, Sparkle Innovation Ecosystem, ESG and CSR at emphasis for the extensive support to sustainability through CSR. Now this is as good as gets. We are glad to have them with us. On behalf of them, representing their idea, considering the pressing need for time, may I request Sri Lingaraj Aras to share a minute of thought with us, after which Srimati Deepa Nagaraju shall speak. A minute for us.
Thank you very much, Chanakya University, for this honor. and there's a lot to be shared, but I've been warned and told just a minute. I'll just talk about two key initiatives which we have in our area. I spent 29-30 years in corporate IT and decided to become a panchayat member to bring about some change in governance. And in our own little way, we have now managed to improve, since the topic of the day is sustainability, improve the groundwater table around Kanamangala, where I live, and I'm a Gram Panchayat member there. Till very recently, till we revived, with the help of United Way, the lake, Kanamangala Lake, the groundwater table, we could go down to about 1,600, 1,800 feet, we couldn't get water. With the revival of this 10-acre lake, now the groundwater table has improved so much that two things have happened. One, we can get water at 300 feet. Secondly, the dependence on water tankers for all the apartments in that area has come down dramatically, which means that the groundwater table has helped everybody. That is one. The other thing which we have done in terms of sustainability is waste management. We have what is popularly known as taking out rasa from kasa. We have enabled ladies from the village, we have trained them in waste segregation and waste management, and we have enabled them to be waste warriors as well as waste entrepreneurs in many ways in the area, which has over 6,500 households. And we collect waste on a daily basis from each of these households and also the commercial areas and the commercial businesses in the area. And we help segregation of waste and safe disposal as well as scientific disposal of waste in the area. So these are the two important initiatives which we have done. The third thing which we are working on is, metro is very close by, but we have challenges, like anywhere else, the last mile connectivity. We are enabling again women to be entrepreneurs, and we are training ladies to take on e-autos to help us make the last mile connectivity in this area. So in our own little way, we are doing a little things. Like the Hindi adage goes, बूंद बूंद से घड़ा भरता है, तो हमारा एक दो बूंद यही भी है. Thank you.
We actually wish to say that all these would be case studies for our learning, but on this stage, we are sorry for the time that we are not able to come to you, but we are coming to you to understand more as a case. Srimati Deepa Nagaraj.
Thank you. While all the men here so far have been rooted in ideas and are ascending with ideas, I'm happy to be the first woman on the dais today. We probably need women to be executing on it and be practitioners. That's just a sidebar. My core job is neither CSR or ESG. I think these are all horizontals. Right? I manage the innovation ecosystem at this company called Mphasis. I also manage communications, public relations. And for me, sustainability is a passion. And I think everything that we do, either with innovation or with technology, has to be sustainable and has to have an environmental benefit, if not a negative impact on it, right? We've had a lot of different people here from various different industries, from petroleum to aerospace to everything. But being in the Silicon capital of India, technology is probably one of the largest consumers of energy as well as producers of carbon dioxide, right? There are more number of servers and data centers globally that are probably using more energy than aviation, right? We keep talking about ChatGPT and everything else that AI can do, right? But what we don't realize is one line of code on ChatGPT is actually one bottle of water for cooling, right? So whatever we do, look at ESG as a horizontal and not as an afterthought, be it for technology. So my role really is to look at how can you make technology sustainable? How can you reduce the impact of carbon in technology? If you're automating something, how do you make sure that you're using lesser energy? If you're moving any data from data centers to cloud, how do you make that smarter, better, faster, rather than having a long-term impact? I truly believe we are the last generation that can help the world in reducing the impact of negative change. If there's one thought that I'd like to leave you with, I want you to think of what kind of ancestors you want to be. Ancestors who ruin the world, or ancestors who are actually giving the future a better world. Right? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Truly insightful. I thank you all, and we are very, very happy to have you, sir. Thank you so much. We come to the conventional conclusion of this event, requesting the Honorable Pro-Chancellor, Chanakya University, Sri M.P. Kumar Sir, for his concluding remarks. Sri M.P. Kumar Sir is a pioneer, a tech entrepreneur, an educationist, and is a critical guide to Chanakya University. So,
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. I think we have come to the last part of the program now. This has been one of the, I think, pioneering moment for Chanakya University. Chanakya University, of course, I have been telling multiple times, it's a startup, while a lot of people who are startups who are in Bangalore will also have to see Chanakya as a startup. As already mentioned, we are 2.5 years old, but we are trying to do something which is different than every other university. So how do we build a really multidisciplinary university which will not only help students to think and do things better, and also how we can help the society to do something which a university can contribute in its smallest possible way. So when we first started approaching and trying to find some kind of ideas and support, one of the first people who went to was Prashant Prakash, and also Nitin Kamath. We went to his office also and talked to them. I think we got a wonderful support from people like them, and that is how we started the university. When we were looking for some new things which we have to do, where we can contribute to the society, I think Prashant Prakash came out with an idea in which he is very passionate about. As you already know that how many things he is doing in the area of sustainability, both in terms of the startups and various things which he is doing as a society and including government. And he felt that we should do something for the sustainability. And that is how the whole idea of Center for Sustainability started. And today we are launching it. So I believe this is a great moment for the university. And both Nikhil and Nitin Kamath and Prashant Prakash have been guiding this, sponsoring this. It is not that they are just donating some money, because this is something which they are passionate about and they are participating doing these things. And therefore, I'm sure the center will do something which will be make some contribution to the society. And I will thank from all of, on behalf of all of you in Chanakya University, Prashant Prakash and Nikhil and Nitin Kamath. And one other good thing is that now we have got Professor Ayyappan to lead and guide the entire initiative as being the chair of the advisory board. I think we have got the best anchor, somebody who has dedicated the whole life in doing these things. And with this experience, and also I would not mention everybody's name, all the advisory board members, many of them are here and some of them are not present, but then they are all very actively supporting Chanakya University's the Center for Sustainability to take an appropriate direction and also good grounding and footing to take this initiative forward. So I would also thank Professor Ayyappan and all the members of the advisory board. And this is not a very easy initiative. As I think already mentioned, there are so many stakeholders, and each of them are quite complex problems and issues we have in the society. And so for us to make any small contribution, we need the support of most of the people and the institutions who are working here. Chanakya cannot work in isolation. It has to work along with the community and many stakeholders and different initiatives which are going. And we would request participation, guidance, and support from all of you to make sure the center contributes something to the society. Though this entire activity, the thought is very global, I think as already mentioned, we have to act local. So what we can do to the immediate surroundings and the society and make some small change and create some pilot projects which can become example for others to follow and make an impact on the society. Those are the kinds of things where I think we will start working on, and we would request all support from each of you, and I thank every one of you who is helping this initiative to take it forward from Chanakya University. Thank you.